What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I have some kind of shocking news that I want to bring to you regarding the fourth stimulus check. But first, let's address the third stimulus check because I'm getting a lot of reports, and this is actually really good. I'm actually very excited for a lot of you guys that you are getting your third stimulus checks, your $1,400 stimulus checks. They're showing up in your bank accounts. Had a few people just recently also state that yes, they did get their paper check in the mail, which was weird because they got direct deposit last time. Some people also said they got a prepaid debit card even though they got a direct deposit last time as well. So it's very interesting, but it is good news that yes, you are finally getting your $1,400 stimulus checks because it is April 3rd today, which tomorrow, if you celebrate Easter, happy Easter or happy early Easter for you guys. But we are 20 some days past the passing of or the signing of the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. So it is good news that yes, you finally are getting your stimulus checks. Now, the reason why I want to address the fourth stimulus check, and I did this earlier on today as well, talking about an article that I read that some lawmakers are, if you didn't get a chance to watch that video, I'll link to it down in the description box below. It'll be the first link. I highly recommend you go and watch it. It will kind of shed some light onto what we could potentially see moving forward. So this is actually pretty big. But what we're hearing now, and again, we're getting multiple sides. Okay, so some people are saying no, there will not be a fourth stimulus check. Others say yes, there will be a fourth stimulus check. But some say on this side that yes, there's going to be a check, but it's going to go more towards the lower income individuals. Others say no, we have to provide a stimulus check to all those people that receive the $1,400 stimulus check because that's what's actually helping propel the economy. And so this is actually a different side to that. And this is actually coming from multiple sources, what I'm going to tell you right now, that are saying the fourth stimulus check is highly dependent on a few things. And according to these reports, they are saying that right now, the fourth stimulus check is contingent upon, first, the child tax credits coming out in a timely fashion. And these are, according to reports, that President Biden will not sign or will not even bring up a fourth stimulus check until there are some clarifications and there's some little more insights as to what we're seeing regarding the economy opening up, states, businesses, the actual unemployment rate, because right now everyone says it's 6%. Technically it is, but yet we are not factoring in any of the people that have actually left the workforce. So that's interesting as well, but I'll get to that in a little bit. We also know the second thing, in addition to child tax credits coming out in a timely manner, the second thing is the unemployment rate dropping. Okay? And the third thing is the willingness of Democrats to impose a wealth tax. And this is, I thought this was shocking because this is now what we're hearing after Elizabeth Warren and others have been, pushing this wealth tax to pretty much impose a 2% tax on the net worth of high net worth individuals, over $50 billion. These are people like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and people like that. So it's interesting. We're starting to hear more rumors about this because up until probably the other day and probably for the past 2 weeks, there hasn't been a lot of discussions on the wealth tax. So it's interesting to see that's coming up now, being that Congress has one more week on recess and then they come back. So we'll see what happens there. But let me address these. Let me address these three key issues because these are big. What we're hearing is that the child tax credit, if this doesn't come out as a monthly payment or at least a quarterly payment, so we would see a payment, let's say, it probably isn't going to happen in July. That's pretty much the consensus between experts, according to the IRS. It's just not going to happen. We're just not going to see it in July, which is the date it's supposed to start. So if we don't see it in July, we might not see it in August. Chances are we would see payments come out in September. It would be no in October, no in November, and yes in December. So we would see payments in September, and we'd see payments in December. Okay, that would be their quarterly payments. Well, here's what we're hearing. Okay, if this is the case, then additional stimulus checks will most likely be needed around the beginning of the summer in order to help those that are currently in need or will be in need at that time. Now, how do you know who's in need? Based off of 2020 taxes? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know exactly how they do this, but this is what we're planning, or this is what they are planning, is if we see the child tax credits in limbo for whatever reason, even for a couple months, this is actually detrimental to pulling kids out of poverty. And this is one of the things that people are saying is, if we cannot get a child tax credit implemented quick enough, what if we just say, all right, just no child tax credit for 2021, just absolutely no child tax credit for 2021. They will rework this for 2022, and instead Congress comes back and says, okay, here's a $1,400 stimulus check, which would be actually less than half than what you normally get if you have children. But this is kind of what we're hearing. Is okay, well, if there's not a possibility to get a child tax credit system or a portal in place by June to get the payments out in July, then some are saying, let's just scrap the idea. Let's just put in a new bill. We'll scrap that idea. We'll push it back to 2022. The IRS will definitely have more than enough time to get it ready for 2022. And by scrapping that idea, we'll just give all parents with children, we'll just give them, X amount of dollars for a stimulus check, regardless of their income. Well, that would work. And so then it brings into, okay, well, how much would this stimulus check be? And I'm just throwing these numbers out there. Okay, there's honestly no talks on, well, if there's no child tax credit, then we are going to give X amount of dollars to every single parent. There's no talks on that, at least that I can find. But there are talks on, okay, if there's no child tax credit or it gets delayed, let's just scrap the idea and let's just move over towards stimulus checks because we know the IRS can do that. Well, they say they can do that. They're having a lot of issues, but we'll see. So the child tax credit is actually very important, but that's not the only thing that's important. Okay, unemployment and the willingness from Democrats to get a wealth tax imposed. Those are other things that are extremely important as well. But here's what I want you to keep in mind. If we see the child tax credit go through and the IRS is like, yeah, we can do it. We're going to have this done. We're going to get it ready by June. It's going to be ready to go. Money's going to be flowing by July. Then this would ultimately be the death sentence to the another stimulus check, a fourth stimulus check, because some are saying that no, it wouldn't be needed. But in reality, it would, because people that are elderly that do not have children that would qualify, obviously they are not going to get anything, so they would need another stimulus check. Because what we're seeing, and this is exactly what I mentioned in the video earlier on today, is that the stimulus checks are propelling the economy, and we've seen that. So we'll see what happens there. But what we do know is, again, it's not just the child tax credit. It also comes down, according to many sources, that right now President Biden will not bring up a fourth stimulus check because he wants to see how the unemployment rate works. He wants to see if the unemployment rate drops significantly, then the chances of seeing a stimulus check would actually drop as well. But earlier on today, and I'm a kind of fight my own words that I addressed earlier on today. But, and again, this is where it's coming from different sides, but it's all coming from Democrats. So this is where it gets very confusing. And here's what we know. If we see a significant drop in unemployment rates, first off, okay, we'd see the chances of a stimulus check passing would actually drop as well. But when I talked about earlier, I was saying that if we see the unemployment rate drop, the chances of a stimulus check actually go up because we see, okay, the stimulus checks are helping propel the economy, open more businesses, vaccines are coming, all these things, businesses are opening their doors, mask mandates are going away, all these things are helping, but in some cases, they're actually hurting. But if we see the rate drop off significantly because there are a lot of people leaving the workforce, and this is the big thing, then we could see an increase in the chance of seeing a fourth stimulus check pass. So again, you have to take in everything into consideration. And this is what's making this thing so difficult to gauge, is right now we don't know what is the likelihood of even this $2.25 trillion infrastructure bill passing. We have no clue because we don't know how many Democrats would oppose this at this time. But then coming back to stimulus checks, one of the reasons, the big reasons why there's so many issues and so much divisiveness within Congress is simply because Democrats have all the power. And this is exactly what Mitch McConnell said about a month or 2 months ago, is if Democrats hold all the power and there's no filibuster, it would pretty much be like a 100-car pileup. Nothing would move, nothing would happen, everything would die in the Senate. And it would happen because in the Senate, and this is exactly what we saw, in the Senate, it just takes one Democrat to oppose a certain piece of legislation, a certain provision, and it scraps everything. Because then they do not have the 50 votes, and then Kamala Harris wouldn't come in to be the tie-breaking vote. Well, here's where this comes in. If Democrats decide that they are not willing to impose a wealth tax, and it doesn't matter if it's Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax of taxing anybody with a net worth of over $50 billion, they would be taxed 2% every single year. Now, that's a pretty hefty wealth tax, but I guess it could happen. But right now, they're saying that this is not going to be implemented because right now Democrats are not willing to impose this kind of tax on the wealthy. And President Biden, his chances of getting this bill passed without catering to that side of the Democrats, Elizabeth Warren and others, Bernie Sanders, this could be detrimental to the entire package. And if the entire package, the entire infrastructure bill doesn't pass, it doesn't matter if you throw in an additional stimulus check. It doesn't matter if you throw in an extension or phase out of unemployment benefits. It doesn't matter if there's more money for vaccines in there. It will not matter because the bill would not pass either way. So that's kind of where we're at. And the reason for this, all this stuff happening right now is actually pretty simple. The infrastructure bill is already one that is going to be fairly expensive. It's going to be fairly difficult to pass because of the expenses behind it, what is needed. So here's what we are hearing at this point. Democrats must find multiple ways to pay for these provisions, to pay for this infrastructure bill. And how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to do it through increasing taxes. We don't know how much. We have an idea. There's already been reports that have come out about how much the taxes will be raised. However, we don't know the exact rates. We don't know the exact provisions within the bill because it hasn't come out yet. President Biden is still working on it. And he's still working on it because he hasn't been able to get the support of all Democrats, which is very important because on the House side, they can only lose 3 votes. On the Senate, they cannot lose one single vote. If they lose one vote, the bill will die in the Senate. So what I can tell you is that a tax increase is going to be there. They will have multiple tax increases. Chances are people that make under $200,000 or couples that make under $400,000 won't see an increase in taxes, but in some way you will. Okay, in some way you will. What we know is maybe the taxes don't come through the normal avenues like, all right, you made this much money, we're going to increase your tax rate to this. That's the normal way to increase taxes. Some are saying that no, you won't see that, but you're going to see gas prices. They're going to increase because there's going to be a separate gas tax. There's going to be all these other things that are going to be rolled into different bills, whether it's through the state or from a federal level. Everybody's going to pay more in taxes simply because we have to. So I hope that's not the case, but as of right now, it's looking highly likely. Now, I don't think having the richest people in the world or in the United States pay 2% of their net worth every single year is going to work. Whether we want it to or not, I don't think it's going to work. Because right now there's many moderates that are completely against this. They don't like this idea because it actually sends the wrong message. Well, what happens if all these billionaires decide, I'm not going to pay 2% every single year just to be a United States citizen? What's going to happen then? Well, they're going to leave. Well, if they leave, and then they take their businesses with them, well, what happens then? And let's say, Europe or China is like, hey, come on in. Hey, Elon, come on in. We'll accept you. We're not going to charge you anything. We're not going to take any of your companies, and we will actually pay you to bring your factories to us. What if they do that with Jeff Bezos? What if they do that with, I don't know if it's going to happen, but what if they did it with, Mark Zuckerberg or anybody like that, right? Some of the wealthier individuals here in the United States. What happens then? If every single billionaire over $50 billion decides, I'm just leaving the United States, I'm going to go to Canada, I'm going to go to Europe, I'm gonna go to China. I'm gonna go to, Mexico or Brazil. Wherever they'll take me, I'm gonna go there. Well, it's gonna be very, very bad for the United States. So I don't see this happening. But then again, you mix this in with everything else that's going on right now, and it gets very complicated. We know that the $1,400 stimulus checks are going to provide a big boost to the economy. Many states are happy with the amount of money that they received from that $1.9 trillion stimulus package. It's actually helping out a lot. It's actually, doing more good than many people believed. But then you have some states that are going against President Biden, and they are pretty much getting rid of their mask mandates. Like today, Kansas. Kansas did the exact same thing. Or the other day they did. And it was just days before the governor was planning on signing an extension to the mask mandate. But the Senate, the GOP Senate from the state decided, no, we are just going to get rid of it. So we'll see what happens there. We also learned that Florida's governor has signed an executive order banning vaccine passports at businesses. And this is something that I stated earlier on this week, is that President Biden and the Biden administration is working towards a vaccine passport. Something very similar to the Excelsior Pass, which is being introduced in New York. But right now, when it comes to travel, chances are we're going to have to do something regarding or around the vaccine passport. Maybe it's not to that extent, but it could be something very similar. So that's kind of what we're hearing at this point. But right now, our new normal is not going to be what we were used to in 2019. If you think in 2021 or 2022, we will go back to the lives we had in 2019, you are wrong. That's not the way it's going to work. So as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. I just want to share this kind of shocking news because right now it is weird that the sources out there are saying that the Biden administration is quietly is open to an additional stimulus check. But he's not going to come out and say, yes, we're going to provide an additional stimulus check because, as we know in the last time, everybody will kind of, tweak his words around a little bit and say, yeah, we're going to pass $2,000 stimulus checks. Then he came out and passed a $1,400 one, and everyone's like, hey, what about the $2,000? You lied. You said $2,000, now you send $1,400. The math just doesn't work, even though it was $600 plus $1,400 equals $2,000. We get the idea. We understand it, but it was still frustrating to see it anyway. But that is what we know right now. Like I said earlier, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If I don't do another video later on today, if you don't watch it, again, I just wanted to tell you, if you celebrate Easter tomorrow, have a happy Easter. Have a very safe Easter. And I will most likely see you either later on today or tomorrow with a additional video. So thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.